Welcome to We Need to Talk Now, presented by AT&T. I am Alicia J, and I'm here with Ashley Nicole Moss. And listen,
Hey.
uh, our nerves after that game, following game 4. I mean, we're live right now, and I know all of you right now are feeling the way that we are feeling. But Ashley, I just have to do a check-in. How are you? How
Not
are you
great,
doing?
Alicia. Not great. I had to take a Tums, 2 Tums to be exact. I have indigestion. For people who are like, that seems dramatic, let me explain to you why I have indigestion, okay? Obviously, the Liberty had a chance to win the whole shebang tonight. They fell short. I got the Yankees in a battle with Cleveland up 2-1 in their series with a chance to go up 3-1. All right, we're 2 wins away from going to the World Series. The Knicks played tonight. I can't have this many New York teams playing at one time. It's not good for my health. Thank God the Cowboys are on a bye week because I and my stomach needs a break. This video of the Lynx doing the electric slide on their home court just popped up on my timeline. I can't do any of this. I can't.
Yeah,
I'm not built for this.
I can't say that I have the same indigestion that you do, but I know I had anxiety leading up to this game. All day I was thinking about what was going to happen, how crazy it was going to be. We've seen every single one of these games has been insane. So I was just having anxiety like leading up to it. Like it was kind of an excited anxiety, but also, dang, our nerves just can't take a break. They cannot take a break.
Well, let's hold off on our nerves for 1 second because I just want to remind everyone to go ahead and make sure they're following us right here on all of our socials, individually, collectively. We're on all your favorite apps. Make sure you have those notifications turned all the way up on YouTube so you can watch when we do live shows like this. And also, if you happen to miss it, you can go ahead and rewatch this whenever it's convenient for you. Make sure you do that before Sunday because that's when game 5 is. And if you are more of a podcast listener when it comes to audio, we got you covered there too. Scan this QR code and pull us up on Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, rather, wherever you get your podcasts, we got you covered. So we have you on all different bases. There's no reason to not be tapping in with us right here on We Need to Talk Now, presented by AT&T. Okay, let's take a deep breath and get active.
Yes. So we all saw the game. Somebody get Courtney Williams a Birkin. Just send it to her right now because she was
And me
definitely in
while
her
you're at it.
bag. Well, listen, I'll take one. Listen, anybody listening, if you have a little extra Birkin, but send her the Birkin. She was in her bag, and the Lynx hold off the New York Liberty 82-80. It was another just like instant classic game that all of these games have been in this series. It's going to be a winner take all game on Sunday. So literally get your watch parties ready because
Yep.
it is going to be phenomenal. Nothing short of phenomenal. But Ashley, what are your initial thoughts on this game that we just watched?
I will say, look, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina, they didn't have a great game at all. It's not the type of performance you wanted to see from the 2 leaders of your organization in a closeout game. When we were previewing this game after game 3, I said, look, closeout games are hard and you have to go in there and go against the psychology of closeout games, which normally is sometimes a team that's up doesn't have the same urgency as the team that's down. And you have to kind of go against that science of the brain and act like you're the team that's down in order to come out on the victorious end. Now, the Liberty did fight. They did fight through what I thought was, again, not a great game, not a great performance overall of the team. Obviously, there were some standouts, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I just think collectively, they didn't look there was no sense of urgency. I didn't see that same ferociousness in them that we have seen in games 1 through 3. I think that when you're a good basketball team, you'll always be able to compete. And we saw that they were able to keep it close. They were able to sustain leads in windows throughout, the 4 quarters. But I just don't think I saw that same level of desperation that I have seen in the other games in this series. And that was a little bit concerning, even from the very beginning. I will say though, I tweeted this out. I didn't love the officiating in this game. I thought it was a little lopsided. I'm not using that as a justification for the Liberty and their performance. But I do think that it was a little bit of a lopsided called game from the officiating, from the referees. And I hate to see games like that. I feel like if you're going to call something on one side, you got to call it on the other. It has to be fair. And I think there were a lot of moments in this game where it seemed, that it wasn't like that. But again, I think that the Liberty had a chance to go ahead and secure this win and to close out this series, and they didn't do that. So that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, I echo a lot of what you said. Can't really add a lot more on that front, but it did seem to me, before the game, they were asking Stewie and Sabrina, you have another game that you could play. Like, how do you keep this up? How do you keep your energy up and go out here and win tonight? And they said they were going to put it all out on the floor, but it did not seem like that from the outside looking in. And if you have a chance to just seal it up, seal it up. That's how I feel. And I'm not saying that they didn't go into it thinking that way, but it just certainly did not seem that way. I do want to give a shout out to Jonquel Jones though, because listen, without Jonquel, like, they're really not in it at all.
She definitely held down the fort for sure.
Yeah, she finished with 21 points and 8 rebounds. Started 6 of 6 and 4 from 4 from the 3-point line. And also, like, going back to Sabrina and Stewie, I think this was the first playoff game that she's
Here's
had.
A Liberty fan.
Come on. Are you doing okay, pup? Are you okay?
How do you feel about the officiating in the game, Cooper? Did you like it? Huh?
Cooper's looking away in disgust.
He's in shame. Yeah, he's looking for Ellie. That's the only reason he watches the games. Kind of like you.
Listen, first of all, it's not the only reason, but it's one of the mains. And we're definitely going to see her in a game 5 because they're going to be back in the house for that. And hopefully a little magic from Ellie could help them. But actually, I am excited for whichever team wins this, because this series, and I know you're phenomenal. It's been phenomenal. It's got to be one of the craziest series in all of sports that I've seen in a very, very long time. Comment in the chat if you feel the same way or how you've been feeling about these games, because I know I ain't got a nerve left, and I don't think any of us do. But they're going to have to, just dig down deep and get that for the next game. Another thing I wanted to say, Phoebich did a great job tonight. She's definitely she's definitely a player that is going to come in and contribute in the same, not the same exact way, but she's solid, and you're going to get what you get from her. She's been amazing all year. So yeah, but they just didn't have it. They didn't have it. And I know Stewie is going to go home thinking about those 2 shots right at the end that she wasn't able to convert. That was very reminiscent of that first game where she down the stretch couldn't do that either. So, she came back with a fire, and it might light a fire.
And I know that a lot of, and I'm scanning Twitter as we're having this conversation, and I know that a lot of Liberty fans are kind of sharing the same sentiments about the officiating. Coach Sandy was at the podium right now, and she says it pisses me off. It needs to be fair. I'm not going to say that there weren't calls on Stewie that were a little suspicious. We know she got a foul trouble really early on into the game. We were talking about that in our group chat. But one thing about me that I think that I can look at it from a complete scope is that, the officiating, especially when you talk about Stewie and some of the calls on her, were a little bit odd. They were a little bit off, but that doesn't negate the fact she didn't play a good game. If she had played a really good game and those calls were preventing her from getting in her momentum and we'd be having a different conversation, then we'd be having a different conversation. But I don't think that one is the reason for the other. I do think they're 2 separate issues. She did not play well. Some of the calls on her were suspicious, but the calls on her did not cause her not to play well. She just had a bad game. So I do agree. Like I said in the beginning, if you're going to call it on one side, you have to call it on the other. But I don't know if that is something that I would use as the justification for Stewie and her lack of performance and when it mattered the most in this particular game. So
yeah, I think it's certainly a point to be made, but definitely the performance was not there. Emma, you can fact check me, please. But I think prior to this game, Coach Reeves had some words about the officiating,
He
particularly
did.
when
It
it
was
came,
game 3. Mhm.
yeah, when it came to Stewie. So, I mean, I'm not saying that that made a difference, but it's definitely something that coaches do to make a point and to put it in their heads. And it was something that
It's
I
a
think
strategy for
boded
sure,
well. Yeah,
and it's a
it's a
strategy
strategy.
that works.
You got to do
So,
everything to win a championship. That's all I got to say.
I
Like,
ain't mad at it.
if it
Listen,
is,
it's a
if it is.
strategy that works, so
Yeah. But speaking of amazing play, championship play, strategies that work, let's talk about Kayla McBride because she was stellar for the Lynx and she's had a amazing season all year long.
Mhm.
She's somebody that really didn't get a lot of recognition, right? And so
Mhm.
last game when Sabrina hit the shot on her, I felt terrible for her because first of all, she played an amazing game against her last game defensively, and then it just, she happened to hit that shot. And so it looked like she didn't really it kind of erased all of the hard work that she did in that particular game. And so I
Mhm.
was glad that she came back and she got 19 points, 4 assists, and just really was a standout, an X factor in this game for me.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, if we're gonna go ahead and talk about the Liberty, I think we already discussed this. Jonquel Jones obviously kept the Liberty in it. 6 for 6 from the field. Started off 6 for 6 from the field, 4 for 4 from the 3-point line. Finished with 21 points, 8 rebounds. I mean, that's huge considering. And you know what? When you're a great player, because looking at Brianna Stewart's numbers, like some people would kill for a casual double double like that, 11 points, 11 rebounds, right? But when you talk about Brianna Stewart and what she is able to bring to a game, and especially when you talk about a closeout game, that's just not going to cut it. And also, she got her 4th foul, as we were talking about, in the 3rd quarter. So I just think that, listen, testament of a good basketball team is how you go through the ebbs and the flows of the game. I think the Liberty did a good job fighting through the fact that they did not play collectively a good game. They didn't play their best game, I'll say, because they did. If you look at the stats and the numbers and the score tell it, like they did play a good game. They were able to sustain a lead. They were able to cut into the lead. They were able to take the lead at some points. But for a closeout game, this was just a little bit too casual in the way that it was approached to me. Like I said, I didn't see that fire and that tenacity that I would have preferred to see from a team that had a chance to go ahead and hoist up a trophy tonight. It was a little bit too lax. It looked more like a game 1 performance than a game 4 performance. So,
Yeah, and especially when you're going against a Lynx team where it is do or die for them, you gotta step it up if you're
and at
gonna get
home,
that,
for
and
sure.
at home.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you saw Courtney Williams, she always brings that fire, and she definitely did this game, 15, 7, and 4. Like, you saw her with that. It's probably gonna go down as a famous quote that will never escape her now, but that she was in her Birkin.
Mhm.
And, yeah, I mean, I also thought it was very smart to give her rest. She was calling for it. She was obviously hot. You could tell she was, I don't want to say lethargic, but she was running, she was gasping for air at points in time.
Right.
So she definitely needed that break. But also when you think about a game 5 as well, that's you have to give a little bit more rest in that respect too, when they're gonna go out there and just like leave it all on the floor. So definitely, you know, kudos to the Lynx for coming back out um, and pushing that game 5. Like it's
Yeah.
literally 0-0 right now, and it's one game to
Yeah.
decide the championship for
Yeah,
2
essentially. I mean,
stellar
it is
teams.
because
Yeah.
both these teams split home court advantage. So now you're going into this on an even playing field, essentially. Yeah, game 5's in Brooklyn, but as we know, the Lynx can win in New York. They've done it. Game 5's or game 7's, if you're talking about the NBA or baseball or whatever the case may be, anything can happen and it's totally different ball game. Things that normally you can't use any other game to gauge a closeout elimination game, last game of a series. It just everything that you know about the series, everything you know about the players goes out the window then. As a Liberty fan, it's not something I'm looking forward to. Um, it's not something I'm excited about. It's nerve-wracking. Um, it's also the last game 5 of the format for the WNBA finals as we know it. They're going to be going to 7, which they should have been at 7 a long
Should
time
be.
ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hate the 5-game format. I always have. But it's going to be a nail biter. I mean, so looking ahead, I'll let you take the Lynx, I'll take the Liberty. I mean, what do you think the Lynx need to do to go ahead and be the ones to upset the Liberty on their home court?
Well, I just want to give a shout out to Abby first because she's
Hey,
back and
Abby.
what up, Abby? She said that it's been a roller coaster and that it has been
That's
indeed.
an understatement. Shoot.
That's listen, an understatement for
I don't
sure.
get
But
indigestion on roller coasters. Just want to put that out there.
you just feel sick on roller coasters, not so much
There's seltzer
indigestion.
water in here.
Yeah.
I think you think I'm playing.
No,
It's
I don't think you're
bubbly
playing
in
at
here.
all. I don't think you're playing at all. We both have like emotional things going on right now, and indigestion. So I understand completely. But when I look at the Lynx, one thing that I think really turned this game not even around, because I can't say that with the margin. They didn't like kill, the Liberty in this
Mhm.
game. But one thing is they really turned up their defense and got back
Mhm.
into their defense in that second half. And I think
Mhm.
that is a huge thing that needs to happen in this final game is you got to play defense like you never played defense before. The best defense you've ever played in your Lynx career. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that has to happen in game 5.
Mhm.
There is no way, you know, shutting down, I wouldn't say shutting down, but slowing down. Let's say that Stewie and Sabrina for sure needs to happen again. Um, as we saw tonight, Jonquel was amazing and you always,
Mhm.
it's really hard to stop her at all, period. But when you're really keeping Sabrina and Stewie to what they had tonight, that's something that you need to do again. You need to replicate that for sure. Um, Man, I mean, the thing for the Lynx that they almost live and die by is their grit, right?
Mhm.
And you just got, and I don't expect anything less. This is nothing that they don't know, but you have to come out there and leave it all on the floor. Every single player on that team, every single player needs to leave it on the floor of that game because it's going to be, the environment is going to be crazy in New York. Like I almost wish I was going to be there. The environment's going to be crazy. That New York is going to play stellar and amazing ball as well, but I think it's that grit that will get them over the top. Like
Mhm.
their names, this is one thing they've talked about all season is that people have not been saying their names either
Mhm.
individually or as a team.
Mhm.
You got to use that fuel to show everybody who you are. You shouldn't have to, but you do in this particular moment to show
Mhm.
who you are in a game 5. Period. So I
No,
think all of those are keys to a win for them.
I agree with you completely. Listen, when we talk about the Liberty, there are some things that are a little, and Minnesota has a chance before we get to Liberty, first championship since the Maya Moore era. I'm gonna just drop that little tidbit. So that would be huge for the Lynx. When we talk about the Liberty, there are some things that are concerning. They're 2-5 at home, all time in the WNBA finals. That's not a winning home record. That's a little bit concerning. We know sometimes how, although very impressive the Liberty have been in this series, we do know sometimes that they have a hard time holding on to leads and closing out games. Sometimes your habits are, as much as you try to correct them, sometimes old habits die hard and they show themselves at the worst possible time, right? Um, Sabrina and Stewie, I mean, 24-83 from the field. That's 29% in losses this series, 26 and 59, 44% in wins. So drastic difference between wins and losses. You need them both to go ahead and play how they have played in wins. You need both of them to go ahead and play how they've played in games in this series. We have seen them have great games collectively. We've seen them have great games individually throughout different quarters of this series. And I need them to come out swinging the way they came out in game 3. Right now, everything that you have done so far doesn't matter. The fact that you went into Minnesota, beat them on their home court, went up 2-1, doesn't matter because now you're going back to New York even keels. You're going back 50-50. I want to see more effort on the defensive side. 4 quarters of basketball, I want to see defense as a priority for every single one of those quarters. I think there are moments where they take their foot off the defensive gas. I want to see better shot selection. Listen, sometimes your 3 ball is not going to fall, but how do you go ahead and live in the mid range? How do you live in the paint? Those are things that I want to see them really prioritize. Again, better shot selection. I didn't like any of those shots in that final possession. Everyone was trying to rush up to get a shot in before that shot clock expired instead of trying to figure out the best shot to take on the floor and get as much as that shot clock down until you figured that out. Did
It was
not like
very
that
frantic.
possession. It was
It was
very
very frantic.
panicked. It was very frantic. Didn't like it. They're going to have to play their best game of this series to come out because now the Lynx, what did I say after our post game? I said, if you don't come out full throttle, the Lynx are going to smell blood in the water and they're going to attack. Well, there's blood in the water and the Lynx attack. So how do you respond? It's really simple as that.
Yep. No, and they're definitely, without a doubt, gonna come into this game thinking they already have the championship. That is
For
how
sure.
the Lynx operate, and that's how they've operated all season long. So now you've given them an opportunity to do that for sure. Like
Yeah.
whoever wins that, there is no other chance. Whoever wins that game is winning the chip, and they're gonna come in ready to go. Rodney says, "I hope Game 5 goes down to the wire." Max excitement. Listen, Rodney, we ain't got nothing left. we're gonna have to come with some more excitement because it's gone.
It's
They took
pure
all
insanity.
everything.
Emma
But
says 63% of the chat is saying the Lynx will win Game 5. Rodney wants Ashley to have indigestion Sunday. That's crazy. Wow,
Rodney, did you
Rodney.
say that? Or
Jeez. Look, I
no,
get a
but
bye week from the Cowboys just to get it replaced with a Game 5 for the Liberty and the Lynx. You see, I can't win.
I will say this, and I know I said this in the last pod, but I have to say it again. I think the winner, the overall winner, no matter what, is the league in this case, because this series has been so amazing. And honestly, the perfect end
Yeah.
to a season that has been so monumental in women's basketball, women's sports, just in general. It has been it's almost like you couldn't write it better, right? And
Yeah.
so, either way on Sunday, we have a team that, is gritty, has been fighting all season. A bunch of people who have moved a lot in the WNBA as well, and
Mhm.
haven't necessarily got their just due, right? And then also the first championships for the Lynx since Maya Moore, right? To add to, I
Mhm.
want to say, what would that be, like number 5 or 6, Emma? 5. And then you also have a team in the New York Liberty that has been number 1 all season, has never had a championship in franchise history.
Mhm.
And, that would be fantastic to see too. So literally just as a fan,
And
like,
for a really exciting time for New York sports just in general. I mean,
yeah,
you have the Yankees right now in the ALCS. You have the Knicks are going to be really good this season. It would be it would be the first time, not the first time, but the first time in a very long time that New York basketball in any capacity has seen a championship parade. That'd be huge just for the city as well. So,
it would definitely be huge. So just as a fan from the outside looking in, this is a win-win situation. I'm happy for both of these franchises, I should say. I think that's the plural, but we'll just go with it.
mhm.
So happy for both of them. But if I'm going to give a prediction, and I've been saying this pretty much all season, there was one game where I kind of wavered a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Mhm.
But I do see the Lynx being the champions this season. After the year that they've had, you know what, Ashley? I'll take your side eye. It's fine. I'm still gonna say
That's
what I'm gonna
cool. I'm
say.
gonna call Ellie right when this show is over and
No,
let her know what's good.
I love Ellie, and we know you can call her. I'll
I'm gonna
call her.
call her. I'm gonna call her
Listen,
for sure.
Ellie loves me regardless. I just want to say.
I don't know, but go ahead.
Anyways, call her up. But I really see, I ain't scared, but I really see the Lynx winning. I predict that they will be doing the electric slide to the championship ring on Sunday. And I stand on it. Period.
Well, I don't. I'm obviously going with the Liberty defending home court. It's gonna be rocking. The Barclays is gonna be rocking, and I think just like we saw the Liberty get punched and come back fighting and come back with a level of tenacity and ferociousness that they should have had the entire series. I'm going with them to come out with that same energy times 100, backs against the wall. It's do or die. This is it. We can smell the championship. It's right in our grasp. And then
You
I
could have had
let
it right
fall.
now, but that's just, I'm sorry, side note. 63% of the chat agrees with me.
Well, that
Those are
sucks
my
that
people.
69% of y'all.
69%.
That sucks that 69% of y'all about to be wrong, but I digress.
That's okay. I'm just saying we could be sitting here right now and you could already have a ring, but you unfortunately don't.
You know, we're from New York. We have to do things the hard way, you know?
I'm not going to refute that. I'm not going to say back to that.
We like to do things more take the path of most resistance. So sorry.
So actually, you're not gonna go and watch this.
I wish I could. Obviously, with NBA tip-off starting the next day, I have to be in studio down here in Florida all week long. So I don't even have enough time to fly up and fly back down. But I'm so jealous of the fact that when the Liberty win the WNBA finals, that I won't be in the building, but I will be rocking and rolling from home.
It's okay. We'll talk on the next pod.
Sure.
We'll talk on Sunday night.
Oh, we will. We will. Listen, while we work out this beef, okay, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to our live show. You're not going to want to miss Sunday because one of us is going to be really happy and the other one isn't. But
you're pointing the wrong way, just so you know. It's okay. She got it right the first time, didn't she, y'all?
It's a
trying to talk and pointing all the way to the opposite side. It's cool. It's all right.
Listen, as normal, we just want to remind you, tap in with all of our socials, lock in with us on YouTube, and at the end of the show, scan this QR code so you can go ahead and listen to us on audio if you were able to, if you were unable to go ahead and watch us tonight, or you're just not somebody who likes to watch video. Ashley, come to Ronnie. You better stop messing with me. Okay, Ronnie.
You know what's up.
Whatever. You and Ronnie, you all about to be sick on Sunday. Until then, we'll see you guys then. Ronnie messing with me. Alicia, get him off your payroll.
No, he ain't on my payroll. He just saying
whatever. Bye, y'all.
See you Sunday.